Have you ever wondered why some people seem to manifest miracles in minutes, while others spend their entire lives struggling without moving forward? The answer may sound too absurd to be true. What blocks manifestation is not difficulty, but ease. The technique you're about to discover today is so simple, so direct, so natural, that your mind, conditioned to effort, may try to reject it. But if you're willing to open yourself to a new perception, what you'll discover here could change your life in a matter of minutes. Jacobo Grinberg understood that reality bends to inner coherence. And in this video, you will learn how to access that state with a single vibrational decision. And now, write this phrase in the comments: I allow it to be easy. This simple act can be the starting point for your new field of reality. Jacobo Grinberg was not just a scientist, he was a visionary. A psychologist, neurophysiologist, and deep student of spiritual traditions, Grinberg dedicated his life to investigating the structure of consciousness and how it shapes reality. While traditional science sought answers in the physical brain, he went further, exploring the subtle fields that connect mind, matter, and the universe. His most impactful theory, the neuronal field, proposes that reality is a projection of our perception. In other words, what we experience as real is nothing more than a reflection of the frequency we emit internally. When our thoughts, emotions, and expectations are misaligned, we create a fragmented reality. But when we reach vibrational coherence, reality reorganizes itself in harmony with our inner state. Quantum physics reinforces this view by demonstrating that the observer influences the outcome, what we call the collapse of the wave function. Reality is not solid but probabilistic, and it responds to the quality of attention and intention. Today, you're not only going to understand this intellectually, you're going to experience this truth in your vibrational field, and this could be the first step to manifesting a new reality with clarity and speed. From a young age, we were taught that anything of value requires effort. Phrases such as no pain, no gain, money doesn't grow on trees, and nothing comes easy are programs repeated for generations. They're not just popular sayings. They are hypnotic commands that silently shape the way you relate to reality. The result? Even when you encounter something true, powerful, and simple, like quantum manifestation, your inner system rejects it, not out of malice, but conditioning. This rejection is subtle. It doesn't show up as a scream, but as doubt, skepticism, a feeling of "this is too good to be true." It's your mind trying to protect the identity built around difficulty, and that identity has become part of your sense of worth. You learned that to be worthy of receiving, you must suffer, work hard, pay the price, anything outside that feels dangerous or even wrong. But here's the truth. This resistance isn't rational, it's vibrational. Your body reacts with tension to simplicity because it was trained to associate safety with control and control with complexity. When someone says you can manifest with ease, your system interprets it as a threat because it dismantles the entire structure on which your identity was built. Quantum manifestation, on the other hand, operates by the opposite logic. The more you force, the more resistance you create. The more you complicate, the more noise vibrates in the field. The quantum field doesn't respond to effort. It responds to the clarity of your frequency. And frequency is not an idea, it's a state of being. The great trap is turning manifestation into yet another task on your spiritual checklist. Creating methods, formulas, lists, endless repetitions of affirmations. These are all the mind's attempts to maintain control. But the quantum field doesn't need your control. It needs your surrender. You don't need to work harder to manifest. You need to deprogram the belief that only what is difficult is valid. You need to remember that it's not how much you do that creates results, but how much you are aligned. When your thoughts say yes, but your emotions say this isn't possible, The signal you emit is contradictory, and the universe responds with silence or confusion. This is the real reason why so many people study, practice, try everything, and nothing happens. Because they're trying to manifest from a fragmented frequency. The first step to changing this is not learning a new technique, but honestly looking at your resistance to ease. Notice how your mind reacts when you affirm, "I allow it to be easy." If discomfort arises, don't fight it, simply recognize it. It's an echo of the old program, and now that you've recognized it, you can begin to dissolve it. If there's one concept that separates those who manifest with precision from those who live in constant frustration, it is coherence. In quantum physics, coherence is when multiple elements vibrate in perfect synchrony, forming a single frequency field. In the context of consciousness, this happens when your thoughts, emotions, and actions are in complete alignment, when there is no noise, doubt, or inner contradiction. Jacobo Grinberg explained that reality is not something external and fixed, but a living projection of the perceptual structure. And this structure only becomes powerful when it is cohesive. Coherence is the moment you stop sending mixed signals to the universe, when what you say, feel, and do vibrates in the same tone. In this state, the quantum field collapses possibilities with speed, because it's receiving a clear command. Let's take a practical example. Imagine someone who says, "I want prosperity," but inside they feel fear, guilt, and doubt. Their emotions say, "I'm not capable, I don't deserve this," and their actions show hesitation, procrastination, attachment to the old. That's the portrait of a fragmented mind. And the quantum field, which responds to vibration and not words, reflects this incoherence with blockages, delays, and frustration. Now imagine the opposite. A person who declares a desire with conviction feels that desire is already fulfilled and acts from that certainty. They don't force, beg, or bargain with the universe. They simply live as if it were already real. That is coherence. And coherence is not about perfection, it's about vibrational integrity. The mind alone doesn't create, it projects, but it's the vibrational field as a whole that determines the collapse of reality. When your emotions contradict your thoughts, you are sending conflicting signals. And at the quantum level, this is interpreted as instability. The consequence? Reality doesn't move. And the most impressive part, you don't need much to generate great results as long as there is coherence. Just as particles in a coherent state amplify each other with minimal energy, a coherent person attracts, transforms, and creates with ease. But how can you reach this state? The first step is to stop dividing yourself within. When you desire something, accept that desire as legitimate. Don't question it with, "Do I deserve it? Am I ready? Will it work?" Instead, adopt the inner stance. This is already mine. I am this now. Coherence is a state where there is no more inner negotiation. The desire, the feeling, and the action vibrate as one field. And when that happens, the universe responds with almost surgical precision. You don't need to control every detail of your manifestation. You only need to become a coherent field. Most people approach manifestation as a process with a beginning, middle, and end. First you wish, then you visualize, then you affirm, and finally you wait for something to happen. This linear view is a reflection of thinking conditioned by time and the logic of effort. But in the quantum field, the rules are different. And perhaps the most liberating of them is this: manifesting is not a doing, it's a being. The moment you clearly define a desire, that desire already exists as a possibility in the quantum field. Manifestation doesn't depend on steps or on chronological time. It depends on your ability to become what you desire. This doesn't mean pretending or fantasizing. It means embodying the frequency of your desire as identity. The rational mind loves formulas. It wants to know how, when, where. But the quantum field doesn't respond to mental planning. It responds to energetic resonance. The more you try to control the process, the more you're declaring to the universe that you still don't trust. And in doing so, you vibrate scarcity, doubt, separation. Have you ever noticed that the most transformative moments of your life weren't the ones where you followed a plan, but the ones where you aligned with something greater? Maybe an opportunity appeared out of nowhere. An unexpected connection changed your path, or an intuitive decision led you to an extraordinary result. In those moments, you weren't trying to create, you were simply being. That's the key. The universe doesn't respond to your effort, it responds to your vibration. When you align with the version of yourself that already lives the desired reality, everything around you begins to reorganize to reflect that. You don't need to chase, you need to embody that version now. But the ego will resist. It will say, "You don't have this yet. How can you act as if you already do?" The answer is simple. Because at the quantum level, you already do. What separates you from your manifestation isn't time, it's identity. You need to stop seeking the desired reality and start living as someone who has already accessed it. This requires courage. Courage to abandon the narrative of scarcity, of waiting, of someday it will happen. When you stop treating manifestation as an external process and start treating it as an internal state, you leave the cycle of frustration. You no longer need proof. Your presence becomes the proof. And the universe, as a vibrational mirror, reflects back what you sustain as truth. To manifest is to stop trying. It's to start being. The greatest trap that blocks manifestation is not lack of knowledge nor lack of action. It's the illusion, deeply ingrained, that you and what you desire are separate. This is the most subtle and most destructive belief because it operates silently in the background of your consciousness, sabotaging everything you try to create. It makes you see your dreams as something distant, something you still need to conquer, achieve, deserve. But according to quantum physics, especially the principle of quantum entanglement, this separation is an illusion. At the deepest level of reality, everything is connected. When two particles become entangled, they remain linked even across great distances. What happens to one instantly affects the other, without any visible exchange of information. Now apply this to your consciousness. The moment you feel a true desire, that desire has already entangled itself with you in the quantum field. It's not out there. It is part of you, an extension of your own vibration. Manifestation is not the movement of bringing something distant to you, but the recognition that you and that something are already one. Difficulty arises when your mind tries to rationalize the desire. It starts creating a linear story. I need to do this, then that, wait this long, overcome those obstacles. And in the process, without realizing it, you vibrationally distance yourself from what you want. You turn desire into goal, goal into effort, and effort into delay. All of this fuels separation. This separation is reinforced by common phrases like, "One day I'll make it," "When I have this, I'll be happy," "I'm not ready yet." They may sound harmless, but vibrationally they're saying to the universe, "This isn't mine yet." And the universe, which mirrors your frequency, responds with more experiences of waiting, absence, lack. The key to breaking this illusion is to feel now as someone who already has what you desire, not because you're pretending, but because you're vibrating in the field where it's already true. Remember, the quantum field contains all possibilities simultaneously. When you align with one, all others dissolve. You don't manifest by deserving, you manifest by recognizing. By recognizing that you're already connected with what you want, you dissolve resistance, doubt, and fear. What once seemed impossible becomes natural, because now you're vibrating at the same frequency as what you want. And at the quantum level, frequency is identity. You're not moving toward anything, You're remembering what is already yours. There is an uncomfortable truth few are ready to accept. The simpler your manifestation process, the more powerful it becomes. And that's exactly why most people complicate it. The mind was conditioned to associate value with effort, worth with sacrifice, depth with complexity. So when faced with something that can change everything in just minutes, without pain, without struggle, the first reaction isn't acceptance, but rejection. But simplicity isn't passivity. It is energetic precision. In the quantum field, where everything responds to frequency, what determines effectiveness isn't the size of your effort, but the clarity of your signal. And a signal is only clear when it isn't polluted by anxiety, doubt, or overthinking. Think of an old radio. You turn the dial and hear static, noise, fragments of voices, until suddenly perfect tuning happens. The music comes through crisp, clear. That is coherence. That is vibrational simplicity. And you can achieve it in minutes if you stop trying to control everything. Here's a practical exercise. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, feel your body relax. And now, imagine the version of yourself who already lives the desired reality. Where do they live? How do they speak? How do they make decisions? How do they walk? Now, without effort, simply allow yourself to be that version for 1 full minute. Breathe like them, feel like them, act like them. Don't try to think, just embody. That 1 minute is enough to recalibrate your frequency. The quantum field doesn't need time. It responds to presence and coherence. When you enter that state, something begins to shift. You feel lighter, clearer, more confident, and that's the sign your vibration has changed. What blocks this process isn't the absence of technique, it's the emotional addiction to difficulty. Some people feel insecure in the face of ease, as if there's something wrong with receiving effortlessly. But that fear is only an echo of the old world, where control meant safety and effort meant identity. In the new paradigm, the quantum paradigm, the power lies in allowing yourself to feel good now, allowing yourself to act as if you already have it, allowing yourself to trust. This permission is the gateway to collapsing realities in minutes. You don't need to repeat 1,000 affirmations. You don't need to visualize for hours. You only need to emit a clean signal and sustain it with presence. And this you can do right now. If there is one element of manifestation that has been completely forgotten or ignored by most people, it is presence. In a world obsessed with productivity, goals, and results, being truly present has become almost a revolutionary act. And paradoxically, it is exactly in presence where the power of instant manifestation resides. Presence is not the absence of action. It's the quality of consciousness you apply to everything you do. It's when you stop living in the when and begin to inhabit the now. And why does this matter so much for manifestation? Because the quantum field doesn't respond to your past or your future. It responds to who you are being now. As long as you try to manifest from the perspective of who you are not yet, you'll be emitting a signal of lack. As long as you're doing rituals, techniques, affirmations out of fear of not succeeding, your vibrational field will be mixed with anxiety and resistance. And the result will be more waiting. Now imagine the opposite. You enter a state of deep presence. You're not trying to reach anything. You're not asking, you're not planning. You simply feel you are already where you should be. You breathe lightly. You see that nothing is missing. Everything is available. In that moment, your field enters pure coherence, and the universe, as an immediate reflection, begins to reorganize to match your vibration. Jacobo Grinberg said that perception is the filter of reality, and presence disables that filter for an instant, allowing you to connect directly with the neuronal field, the space where all possibilities already exist. It's as if you stop projecting and finally see what has always been there. The rational mind, however, doesn't like presence. It wants movement. It wants to think, anticipate, solve. But in the quantum field, what creates realities is not mental movement. It's the quality of your state of being. When you are present, you don't need to force. Your energy speaks louder than any word. Your body relaxes, your heart opens, your mind quiets. In that state, you become a natural magnet for the reality you desire. Not because you forced it to come, but because you became compatible with it. Therefore, the true secret of manifestation is not in doing more. It's in being more now, more calm, more confident, more connected. Not with the future, but with your center. Presence is the portal, and you already hold the key. Now that you've understood the transformative power of quantum manifestation, remember, it's not about doing more, but about being more of who you truly are. Everything you desire already exists as a possibility in the field. It's up to you to align with that frequency through simplicity, clarity, and above all, presence. So from today, abandon complexity, abandon doubt, and embrace this new way of living in coherence with your essence, your truth, and the reality you have already chosen to experience. The universe doesn't respond to your effort, it responds to your vibration. If this video resonated with you, if something inside you was activated or remembered, then subscribe to the channel now. Together, we are building a community of awakened consciousness that understands manifesting is not controlling, it is allowing. And share this content with someone who needs to hear it. Perhaps you are the channel the universe has chosen to awaken another soul. And remember, you don't need to fight to receive what is already yours. You only need to remember. See you in the next video. Until then, keep vibrating high and consciously choosing the reality you want to live.